Hi, I'm Justin Thames, Director of Governmental Affairs for the Florida Institute of CPAs, and welcome to Impact Report, your update on all things impacting the CPA profession here in Tallahassee. So we've just finally finished week 5 of the legislative session, and we have a good bit of progress on a couple of things that we've been monitoring for you over the last couple of weeks. First, I want to touch base on one in particular, the tax package that we've been monitoring, especially over on the House side. The House has released its annual tax package this week for more consideration over the next week or so. Included in the tax package, we see $100 million in tax cuts, and those range from a couple different areas that we typically see each year. This year, just like last year, we see a reduction in the business rent tax from 5.5% just down slightly to 5.4%. We're also going to see a larger reduction in the communication services tax from 4.92% to 4.42%. As per usual, we also see some sales tax holidays, in particular the back to school sales tax holiday and the disaster preparedness sales tax holiday. Those two are very popular each year, and we'll see them come back in this year's tax package. One other thing that to mention that we're going to see in this year's tax package on the House side that is probably going to be new to a lot of folks is the tourist development tax and how it can be treated. The House is going to add some new provisions that would allow for those taxes to be used for water quality improvement projects, which is going to be a little unique for the usage of those tourism development taxes across the state. So we'll continue to monitor the progress of the House tax package. Typically, we see the House tax package take shape prior to the Senate taking action on their side, and they'll usually work that out as we get closer to the end of session. Now, also, we mentioned last week that the House and the Senate had reached finalized their budget proposals for the year. This week, both the House and the Senate did pass their budget proposals for both chambers, and now we'll be ready for conference between the two to figure out the differences. Right now, it's about a $1.5 billion difference between the two proposals. And if you remember, the House was slightly right about $93 billion, or $91 billion in the House, $93 billion in the Senate. And then the governor had proposed almost a $91.5 billion budget proposal. So there's still some negotiations that'll have to go on before they finalize this year's budget. Some major differences between the House and the Senate budgets is the Senate had $100 billion more in pay raises for state employees, and then on the House side, they had a higher amount for teacher pay raises at $150 million more than the Senate. We also saw one of the bigger differences was for affordable housing and the funding of the Sadowski Fund for affordable housing. The Senate fully funds that at $387 million, and then the House is about $240 million less than that. So there are some distinct differences between the two chambered budget proposals, and they're going to be working to kind of iron those out in the next couple of weeks. And also they'll be including a lot of member projects from all across the state. So it's a little too soon yet to give you a full determination on what the actual end result will be, but we'll keep you posted over the next week or so. From the bills that we're following, the CPA legislation continues to move forward. It passed its final committee meeting on the House side this week and now is headed to the floor of the House. And on the Senate side, we've got one more committee stop for the Rules Committee. And again, just to recap what's included in that bill, we have a retired CPA license status that's in the bill. Also, the CPE reciprocity for Florida licensees who live in other states. And then we've also got some cleanup language that clarifies some ethics requirements. So forward progress on those initiatives. And again, both of the proposals pushed forward by the FICPA for the budget regarding unlicensed activity in the Clay Ford Scholarship Program have been included in both the House and the Senate budgets. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. And one last thing on a Valentine's Day, we hope that you'll show some love to the Florida CPA PAC and make your yearly contribution. You should be receiving your annual support notice in the next week or so. So we appreciate all your support. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you next week.